Everything you need to ace American history in one big fat notebook. Unit 2, Colonial America, 1607 to 1780s. Chapter 7, Regional Differences. The main differences between the colonies hung on pegs: population, economy, government, and slavery. And sovereign identity basically had plantations, tap water aristocracy, dependence on slavery, population imbalance, and elected representative assemblies. For northern identity was the town life, like meeting house and church, trade and industry, limited use of slavery, Puritan values. And for the middle colonial identity, leading the north and south, the mixed agriculture and industry, the mixed use of slavery, mixed populations, mixed government. And for backcountry identity, the backcountry was on the western frontier, stretched along the Appalachian Mountains, so yeah. And then the new and unique American identity, even as the regional identities became stronger, a culture was evolving with common history from a shared English background, perception of cheap and available land, not the case in Europe, an emerging middle class from wealth and social mobility, because of the lack of aristocrats and slaves instead of lower-class white workers. Power for landowners because of the connection between land ownership and the right to vote. Social mobility among white males from lack of hereditary titles or classes. Tolerance, mostly on religious differences due to diversity, and shared enemies from conflicts with Native Americans and French and Spanish settlers. And that's pretty much it here, because it is great to have it. And then there's a Great Awakening and the Enlightenment. The Great Awakening was a religious movement by traveling ministers from the 1730s to the 1740s. Through fiery sermons and outdoor reveal meetings, Americans were encouraged to seek personal relationships with God. And then the Enlightenment was a philosophical movement that emphasized human reasons, scientific analysis, and individualism. Oh, and applied laws of nature and politics and society. Yeah. And now, quiz time. Quiz number 1. Did most people in the South own slaves? No! Well, really surprising to fact that a lot of Southern people are said to have slaves, since they were dependent on slaves. Quiz number 2. Where was the center of town life in New England? Towns and churches. Churches and meeting places, wherever it was. Quiz number 3. What values are emblematic of the Puritans? Hard labor, work, and an education. Quiz number 4. Why was there a successful middle class in North America? Well, since there's a North and South class, they actually had a lower class where the lower white workers had the slaves doing them. Quiz number 5. Why were the colonists guaranteed the rights promised by the English Bill of Rights? Because, well, they thought they were American citizens and English citizens. Pardon me. What is the salutary neglect? The salutary neglect was a hands-off, not direct government approach. 7. What did the Great Awakening and the Enlightenment have in common? They basically had the philosophical and the movements of change and stuff. So, see you again in the next episode. If you did enjoy this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next episode. Shanhan out, and peace.